Good evening, students. You are welcome to today's instruction. We looked at last week, we saw the basic accounting skills every professional accounting must have. Talk about interpersonal skill. There's misconception that an accounting works and only works on figures. Talk about taxation, have a little knowledge about taxation. Analysis, that's analysis of accounting basics, national certification, accounting software continues, writing and oral communication, critical thinking must be a person who's creating persuasiveness. Talk about human resources professional will commonly say that building consensus is a key characteristic for a leader. Then we look at technological and computer skill, then look at the leadership skill. But today we are also looking at softwares. What are softwares? We say softwares is a fundamental application that allows an organization to record the flow of money from internal and external revenue and auditing. It is the primary tool for assessing the financial health of an organization and for meeting the legal compliance through books like general ledgers, accounting payables and receivables, purchases order, stock management, journals, payroll, trial balance, and billing. Now, what we are saying is this. Formerly, we always use a spreadsheet where you write, then you have to go through the sheet, but also those spreadsheets are already in the computer. You have a software for that. You key it into your computer. As you enter your figures, you get your answers quickly. Then it describes the type of application that record and process accounting transaction within functional modules. Then we look at the features of accounting software. One is quick. Accounting was, software was accounting was factory manual process. That means you have to go through the sheets, you go through the papers that involved using pen and papers to improvise. Then accounting software was introduced, and once it was introduced, it is quicker. You enter your number, as you put input in, then you get your output. You can get your balance just within a twinkle of an eye. Two, secure. It must have good security, as the transaction details of the company are stored on a software. There must be a good password that you need so that you can always have it on. Then we also look at easy to use. It is very easy to use. Once you master it, you can put it, you can on your phone, you can just be checking what you want to check concerning account. And we also know that also, if we are in the bank, when we want to collect money in the bank, we don't need, sometimes we even want to collect money from POS, and just there you do your accounting. Then cost, though at the beginning is costly, but once set is costless because it's a continuous something. The importance of accounting software. One, it gives an insight of overall financial performance of the business, overall insight of the financial performance of the business, if they are making loss or they are making profit. Two, it handles all financial aspects of the business through the company, all the aspects of the business being handled with the software. Three, it manages the general ledger, account receivable, and account payable. You can easily know the balance of what comes in and the balance of what you paid out at the end of the day. Now, it also allows tracking cash flow, revenue and expenses. You can track your money, where's your money hiding, who is owing you, and where is it. You can always track that. Then it aids check and balance. There's always a check and balance. Are we spending too much? Is our income, our revenue more than our expenses? You can easily check, then you make amendment. Look at types of accounting software. We have database accounting software. We have installed accounting software. We have cloud accounting software. Then we look at the features of accounting software. Let's look at the features of accounting software. One, accounting receivable, order to cash. Then you can always know what you receive. Two, accounting payable, procure to payment, whatever what you are paid and what you have received. Then we look at financial close. At the end of the day, you can close your finances, you can close your inventories. And three and four, time and expenses captured. You have enough time and you can also limit your time because of what you have. Then expenses captured, you can easily talk about what you have spent and what is coming in or out. Then we also have fund accounting. Fund accounting, what are those things you spent money upon that you need to account for? Sometimes we forget when we say, well, right, but on your computer, you can just put it on and you can't forget what you have put into your account. Then on the cell 6, we have revenue recognition and management. You can easily recognize what your money is and what your money are not. Then we look at the 5 elements of accounting. 1, assets. We all know asset. What asset is? Assets are those resources which business use to conduct the organization activities on daily basis. You have your assets, your land, your property, your accounts, cash at hand, the debtors, all those ones, they are all part of your asset. You have your liability. These are groups of items which are obligatory to the business. Then those things. Now, it's not really liabilities. There is a liability that brings money, and you need to know that. Then you check your expenses. Then the revenue, you know what is coming in. Then owner's equity, what is the property of the owner and what do they have. Then we also look at real account classification. I think we've talked about all these: real account, personal accounting. The importance of accounting software: 1, to manage the business effectively. To manage the business effectively. 2, to help business in completing the tax obligation. Then 3, to complete most of the bookkeeping process of the business. 4, it generates report and manages calculation. It generates report. You can easily know what you spend, who you spend to, or the people you paid the salary, if they are not recognizing it. Then 5, importance of tracking the success of the business. You are able to track your business to know that your business is doing fine or it's not doing fine. Then you look at allows users to store all information that gives a clear picture of the business financial health. It can easily manage bookkeeping and allow monitoring costs and revenue to maximize profit margin. It performs basic accounting tasks easily. Well, those basic accounting tasks, your input, your output, your expenses, your revenue, you can manage them very easily. Then we look at it can effectively manage and monitor your business. You can monitor your business. You travel out, you know what is going on, who is buying what, who is promoting who, to be able to know it. Then it uses it is users friendly, generates report and improve financial performances. Users friendly. Every time you use it, once you have the knowledge of it, then you use it. It's users friendly. It gives ready features, accuracy, and speed. Then we look at the financial electronic investigation. What is financial electronic investigation? Financial electronic investigation is an analysis of where money comes from, how it moves, and how debt and real estate files, motor records. For instance, they analyze the data they have found, looking into where the money is and how to get there. Because financial investigators are legal, unbiased sources, evidence they find can be used in the court of law. Now, you need to understand that you need to understand this financial investigation. When you have it, your accounts are safe. You'll be able to know who is moving money from where. And in this very era where there's so many Yahoo boys around, be able to control your account. Then we look at basic step of a complex investigation. How do we do complex investigation? 1, begin the case. Respond to complaint. People are complaining, money is missing. I remember some years ago, I was a manager in the place, and the boys that are working with me, they can steal the ice. They can steal the ice. So you'll be able to monitor this effectively. Then we also look to evaluate the allegations or suspicion. Maybe somebody is reporting to you that somebody now in Nigeria where a corporal is using a Benz, using a very solid Benz, not to just 190, not 200, not this corporate Benz, and is using, there's something is wrong, Then 3, conduct due in the diligence background check. You have to check, is it true money is missing? Is it true the record are not there? Or is it true that people are changing finger? You need to know. Then 4, complete the stages of the investigation. After the stage of investigation, then check for predication, and get organized. So if the person that they are related this problem to is doing it, then we need to arrest him, then give him to the law so that the law should take its preeminence. Then what are investigation techniques? For countless years, crime investigation have relied on 6 investigation techniques to solve crime. 1, development of information. We must develop good information. That's communicating good information system in the organization. And we need to check. There must be a check and balance in the system. Now, if somebody is working in a place and is always he doesn't want to go on leave, you need to suspect the person. How can somebody work and doesn't want to go to leave? So those are development of information. That's part of the information. 2, use of undercover agents. Undercover agent, like sometimes we have them in the universities. Some people who are SSS who are joining the students just to know who the students are. So there must be an undercover agent, somebody who his main job is just to start to know something is missing or something is wrong in the organization. 3, laboratory analysis of the physical evidence. You must go down to check the physical evidence. Is it true? We need to check books. Those books is handling and others, we need to check them. Then the next one is physical and electronic surveillance. Then every organization, there was a place sometimes ago where the offering of the church is being stolen, and not knowing in the place they count the money, there are some electronic surveillance that have been put into the place, and you could see different type of armed robbery even in the church. So there must be some surveillance so that somebody is monitoring. If there's any suspicion, then the person can be called into order. Then interrogations. There must be interrogation. Once all these physical evidences are completed, there must be interrogation. The person has to be called and they must be able to talk to him or hand him over to the policeman to see if truly what he has done is it. Then the next one is where permitted by law. That's wiretapping of these techniques has resulted in various degree of success. The wiretap, then that's putting more surveillance on them. Then those scientific use 3 methods of investigation in different circumstances. This method include in no particular order. Fear testing is what's called fear testing. Yes, we are having high information. Okay, let's test it. If it's true, then identify the issues. If it's true that yes, it's true, then classification. We now classify it. Then step to successful workplace investigation. There should be workplace investigation. So let's look at the steps to successful workplace investigation. 1, decide whether to investigate. If you hear any rumor and somebody says somebody is doing this or that, then you now decide whether to investigate or not. Then before you put on your detective hat, take some time to decide whether you really need an investigation or you just need to call the person or sack the person immediately, or if you know there's a clique, then maybe you separate them from the clique. And one thing that you have to do most of the time is simply, putting one person into being in charge, don't put one person in charge, put about 3 persons. One is raising the cash, the cashier is raising the book, one person will vet it, another person also signs it. And when there are 3 in number like that, we'll be able to know. Then there will be problem, because the person who wants to perpetrate evil will not be able to do that again. Then we also look at take immediate action if necessary. After you decided to investigate, then take immediate action. Now the action, there are some of the things we have discussed before. Either you prove the person or you link the person to another agent who will do all the investigation. Then 3, choose an investigation. choose an investigation. What type of investigation do you want to be? Is it observant? Is it fear testing? Is it questionnaires that you want to use? Or is it personal confrontation? You choose an investigation. Then 4, conduct interviews. There must be interviews. Maybe in that department, you must be able to see people that you talk to about. Maybe they are also suspecting or smelling a rat. Then 5, gather documents and other evidence. There must be document. You can't implicate somebody without evidence. There must be an evidence. You know, the Bible says out of 2 or 3 people, the truth shall be found. But in this case, it's not like that. Documents, you have to find the document. You have to, now like in the ministry, in all these public places where they can hide all documents, they just throw the documents somewhere. Or one day they just set the building on fire. Both the money and they've taken the money and documents are set on fire. Then evaluate the evidence, evaluate it, check it. Are they okay? Does it suit the situation? Is it really true that the person had really done what is doing? Then take action. And you know the best action to take is to hand over the person to the law enforcement agent. Don't take law person, then pretty, then come arrest you or to take to sue you or to sue the company a very high money. Then types of criminal investigation, we have fraud investigation that is changing money or using cleaner to claim some part of the money and adding figure. We have criminal scene investigation, that's maybe an armed robber or somebody or is a criminal or kill somebody, murderer. We look at that. Then we also look at sexual crime investigation. Sexual crime, issue of rape. Is it true the rape? You know, our ladies suffer a lot, and some men also are suffering. They're also suffering. So sexual crime investigation. Do you know that men can also be raped? And people don't believe that. People rape men, and men don't shout. But when it comes to the turn of ladies, but all these, they are not even good. So sexual crime investigation. Then we look at theft investigation, where there's stealing somewhere. And you know, the Nigerian police, they are very good at catching innocent people. They're making them to believe that, yes, they have stolen truly. Then we look at kidnapping investigation. You know, maybe somebody kidnap somebody and they are investigating if truly who are those. And in this era where nobody is being trusted, they don't trust anybody. You know, father is kidnapping the daughter and they're asking for money from the mother because the mother has money, or mother kidnapping the son and making the father to do that. Then we have the homicide investigation. We have the criminal defense investigation. Those are parts of the investigation. Then the purpose for investigation is to explore in detail the allegation. One of the purposes is to exploit in detail the allegation. 2, to examine the evidence in depth. You need to examine the evidence in depth so that you don't make a mistake to examine it. Then to determine the specific whether academic research has been committed, and if so, action needs to be taken. You have to take action. The types of financial crime, we have seen them: fraud, electronic crime, monetary laundering, money laundering, terrorism, financing, bribery and corruption, market abuse, and inside dealing. Then we also have information security. Now, electronic crime, you know, we know what electronic crime is. We are still going to deal with that in the later. Then we look at type of our fraud. We look at types of fraud. What are types of fraud that we have? Number 1, embezzlement, also called larceny. Embezzlement, also called larceny. That means which is the illegal use of funds by a person who controls those funds. Maybe you put some money to his hand. There are people who cannot hold money. They can't hold money. If you put money to their hands, they'll tell you a story. Tell them to bring the money, and they tell you they are sorry, they borrowed somebody the money. So we talk about embezzlement. Embezzlement is somebody who is taking what is in the organization without being given a permission to do that. Then we also have 2, internal stroke direct theft, which is the stealing of company assets by employees, such as taking office suppliers or products that the company sells without paying for them. Now, Nigerians are very excellent or intelligent when it comes to issues like this. You know, I used to say to my students that even the Nigerian corporations, those people who are running business, entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs, they steal their own money. They steal their own money by, you know, adding figure to a project. I used to say, it is your company. Why need to add money to a project just because you want some money? You know, and a lot of companies, they are dying. They die in the infancy because there's a direct theft by the owner of the company, and because of that, we don't have a company in Nigeria that has lasted 25 years, even 50, 200 years. Abroad, we have companies that have lasted more than 250 years, and they are still waxing stronger and stronger. I'm so happy many times when I read their stories, and their stories are so fascinating. And Nigeria, we can't even say that once the owner of the business dies, then the business is gone also. It goes on. The only business that have ever survived 20 years, 30 years in Nigeria is the church, the business of the church. And that those are the ones that have survived it. Then we also look at checks fraud. That's fraud. We also have banking stroke identity fraud, where people impersonate themselves to be the owner of the money and they are not. Then we have invoice and payment fraud, where people are turning the invoice and payment. Then let's look at financial investigation. Are commonly used in the following situation, both in the corporate and the personal ways. They are used both in the corporate and the personal ways. And let's look at the corporate include merger and acquisition. Do you know people, some of this merger and acquisition, some people make a lot of money from it just by declaring the wrong figure or taking bribe before mergers and acquisition. When we talk about merger, that's two companies coming together to form a whole company, you know. And when we talk acquisition, is the total purchase of the organization. Then we also look at shareholders and partnership dispute, where there's a dispute in them, where possibly they didn't really go through the manuals, the things that they want to do as in their partnership deeds. Now they now have problem when there's dispute, or because they want to bring in a new partner, and some people don't want new partners. They then say, well, instead of the partnership continue, let's dissolve the partnership. And some say, no, we can't dissolve it, let's bring in new people. So the share that is partnership dispute. Then we have business interruptions and property claim losses. Business interruption and property claims interruption, where people, you know, some people's business are being interrupted by the hoodlums and taking away a lot of things. Or you employ a hoodlum, you employ an armed robber who is stealing your things, and those are parts of the corporate things we are talking about. The corporate internal investigation, investigation, maybe things are missing with the management, or the strategy use is bringing problem to the organization. It has to be investigated to know that yes, things have to be done. Then we also have the personal include divorce litigation. Maybe somebody was, you know, is no more happy with the relationship, you know, and one the common way to do divorce these days is just tell them that there's no more love, no more care, or undisputed inability to resolve a dispute. And you know, and you see today it's becoming so alarming. Now it's even better in Nigeria. In abroad, you can just wait 1 minute and 2 minutes, you don't like the guy, just go to court and say, I just don't like him any longer. And it is dissolved. So we also look at personal injury claims, or stroke motor vehicle accident. Maybe somebody injured somebody and he has to claim some claim, or he worked in an organization and somewhere while on area he had accident and he has to do some claim from the organization. We have mediation, we have arbitration. Mediation stroke arbitration. Mediation is somebody coming in between two people who don't settle their causes, who don't settle their marriages. Then a third party comes in to say, okay, let's hear your case, let's settle this case once and for all. We also have other types of civil litigation. Then let's move on to electronic data processing. We talk about electronic data can be referred to the use of automated method to apply an inventory from our banking transaction applied to account and customer master files or books. It's also called IS, Information System, or MIS. I think last week we discussed this so much. MIS, we also call them DP, data processing, and we told you that at the earlier type of it, a term that was created when most computer input was physically put into computer in punch card. Then we look at method of electronic data processing, a lot of it. We look at the timing sharing, real-time processing, on time. I think we discussed this last week. So this week, let's move on. We talk about multifaceted, the peak and everything. Now let's look at elements of data processing. We look at hardware, we look at software, we look at procedure, and we look at personnel. The hardware are those scanner, barcode, scanner, cash register, the personal computer, and we have the software, data entry, schedule software, analytics, and software are all elements of it. And we look at the personnel, the person who is doing the work of the computer, who is input in, and when he inputs, then there's an output. We also look at step of EDP, then look at accurate data gathering, sensors, sample survey, and administrating by product. 2, preparing stage is used to analyze the data processing. Then 3, data entry is done by the use of a scanner, keyboard, and digitizer. In this stage, every computer is used to store data. Every computer is used to store data. Then we look at advantage of EDP. System of electronic data processing. Once created, then the cost of management data will be reduced. Document treated as primary asset. Then we also look at cost of managing documents. It's costly, but EDP reduces the cost of paperwork. This is facilitated to research a document in the system to reduce the time lost. 2, the next one is the famous software products such as MS Office is using EDP concept. It has facility to reduce the duplication of effort and repeat entries. Also capable to make the decision openly, to store the enormous amount of data, and this data can then be further utilized for data presentation, analyze. Then look at disadvantage, very easy for computer hackers. The people can hack into your computer if they get your password, and that's why you need a very strong password for your computer. You need a very strong password for your computer. Then 2, insecurity and data loss. You know, it is very alarming or very discouraging sometimes. You just thought of having some data in your checking some data, and you just discover that the data is lost, and you have to begin to look at how to do it. Then we have when a small number of digit code are compared with a large number code, then it occupies the computer storage less. Then alphabetic code can be descriptive. It can be descriptive. Then we quickly look at auditing through the computer. Sorry for the spellings. Auditing through the computers. Then when auditing through the computer, the auditor follows the audit trail through the internal computer operation in order to verify that the processing controls are incorporated in the AIS program are functioning proper. Additionally, it's an attempt to validate the accounting data being processed. The auditor assume that the CPU and the additional hardware are functioning properly. Then let's look at techniques used in auditing through the computer includes. Number 1, use of tested data. Now, it's not just primary data, tested data, secondary data, and you are sure that this data you are using is tested. Then 2, integrate the test facility. You move into the next phase to know that yes, your data is working. Then 3, parallel simulation to test programs. It's a parallel simulation to test the program. If your data is right, then your simulation will show it. If it's not right, then you get a fake or data, you get a result that you cannot use. 4, use of audit techniques to validate computer programs. Use of audit techniques to validate computer programs. Then use of logs to review system software. Use of logs to review system software. Then 6, use of documentation and CAATS to validate users' accounts and access personal privileges, and use of embedded audit modules to achieve confirming auditing. Step of performing the system audit. Let's look at the steps in performing system audit. Now, our assignment before that, our assignment is go and check the types of computer software. Types. I mentioned 3 the other time. Types of computer software, and write short notes on them. Types of computer software, and write short notes on them. So let's look at start, then send it to my mail, joba2804@gmail.com. joba2804@gmail.com. The types of computer or software, of data software or computer software. So please make sure you send it before the next class. Then 1, review. When we talk about step of performing a system audit, you review. In this phase, the system auditor tries to comprehend the management practice and various functions used at multiple level of its hierarchy. So you review it. You look at the system auditor, or you look at the system that you want to use, and you review it. 2, system vulnerability is assessed. If it is a weak one or it's an old system that you need to check. If not, you won't have a good result. Then threats are identified. What are the threats? What are those things that you know can give you difficulties? You need to check them quickly. Then internal control analysis. There's internal control, that's the management, the inner management. Talk about the internal control management. Then finally, we talk about the final evaluation. Talk about the final evaluation to see if your government, your organization is making profit or is not making profit. Then there are 3 main types of audits there that we have. They are internal audits, we have the external audits, then we have internal revenue service, that is IRS, that is by federal or state government or your local government. That's to know how much tax they need to pay you. You know, they are very, very good at that. You know, when you send them your financial statement for the year, then you know what to do to come and audit or to check all your papers. So, though there are other types of audits, that, but 1, compliance audit, 2, construction audit, 3, financial audit, 4, information system audit, 5, information investment audit, then 6, operational audit, and then tax audit. Now, if you see all these types, you can see that they can also easily enter the 3 types of audit. They can enter the 3 types of audit. We talk about the compliance audits. We are talking about the external audit. We talk about the constructional audit. We talk about the internal. We talk about financial. We talk about internal. We talk about information system audit. We talk about the external. We talk about investment audit. When we talk about investment audit, we are talking about the external audit. We'll talk about operational audit. We're also talking about the external. Then when we talk about tax audit, we're talking about the internal revenue service audit, that's IRS. So you could see that everything is in it. Then let's look at the advantage and disadvantage of the CATs. The CATs means computer assessed audit techniques. CATs means computer assessed audit techniques and service. So let's look at the advantage. It is, number 1, it facilitates the auditors to test a huge volume of data. It facilitates, you can test a huge lot of data. If you're a company that has so many branches, you can easily connect to their branches, then you know what to do with that. The data volume should not be a threat. because you know what to do. 2, lessening the level of human errors in testing and facilitating a very high level of evidence to be derived. So what we are saying is that human error can bring figures down or raise the figure up, but your computer is very straight. Errors can easily be minimal when we talk it down. Then 3, the application of cards is free of expensive human capital. You know, that means it is free and it's less expensive than human capital. You know, where the computer can you can use 2, 3 computers to run over. You need about 10 men in different departments to run the account of the organization. Then we look at disadvantage of the disadvantage. Cards are too closely to set up, and that's for a continued audit relationship to be present before it is worth commenting. The audit resources also major change in client system after the necessitates major change in cards. So what we are saying is that it's very costly to maintain, and also, like we said, somebody can hack into the account and render the account useless. So we look at computer. Now let's move on to the next one, talking about computerized accounting system, types and advantage and disadvantage. When we talk about computerized accounting system, this can be answered through how much money the firm is making, which may in turn require accurate bookkeeping. Keeping accurate financial record is crucial to the success of any firm or business. It is important to know your option, very important to know your option. Why some firms still do their bookkeeping by hand or manually. Most firms generate so much transaction to sustain a manual accounting system. The more complicated the financial activities of your business are, the more likely it's that you will need a computerized accounting system to ensure effective financial report. So when we talk about computerized accounting system, we talk about softwares, program that can store on a company's computer, network server, or remote access via the internet. So when we talk about that, we talk about it can be connected to the computers, the network server, or remote access via the internet. You use the internet to do a lot of things. It allows you to set up income and expenses account, such as rental or sales income, salaries, advertising expenses, and material costs. They also can be used to manage bank account, that is, pay bills and prepare budgets, and depending upon the program. Some accounting system allow you to prepare tax documents, handle payrolls, and manage project costing. You can generally customize software to meet the need of your business. Yeah, you can customize it, or you're looking for an expert to do that for you. Then it's important to make sure that your staff are trained and understand how to use the system correctly, so that your company use your accounting program. So you have to train them on how to run the computers. Then we also look at types of computerized accounting system. The last time computer options are pre-developed. They are pre-developed. Then off-the-shelf accounting software package. There are software packages that typically function that apply. Most businesses usually have some flexible features to meet the needs of a company. Example of accounting software package designed for small business include QuickBooks Saga or Peachtree and Bookkeepers. That's customizing accounting system is an accounting transaction and event as general accepting accounting principles. General accepting accounting principles that to produce reports as per users' requirements. So we look at the features of a computerized accounting department. The feature, I don't have much time, just look at it. Number one, numerous transactions, can do a lot of transactions together. 2, instant reporting, can do instant reporting. 3, reducing paperwork. 4, accounting queries. Then online facilitating. We also look at security, capability, and speed of efficiency. Next week, if God help us, that's okay. We are looking at the advantage of computerized accounting. Thank you. God bless you. I've rounded up already. You can close up there.